Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Storky Farmstead. So do I have a video for you guys. So my name is Samantha, and I'm going to walk you through how I feel like everything you're seeing on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube about these Chinese companies folding due to President Trump's tariffs, well, it's all fabricated lies, and I'm fixing to prove it to
Copper
you.
parts. I've already bought all the materials. It costs tens of thousands, and everything has been cut, ground, washed, and engraved. It's not finished yet, but today the customer messaged me and said the delivery might be delayed. After customs clearance, the taxes have gone up too much.
I don't know how much of it is 100% organic. It almost feels too scripted. If you know what I'm saying, they usually don't let a lot of information out of China, and all of a sudden it's everywhere, and they're showing factories that are empty.
It's hard. Our profit margins in bulk trading are already razor thin. Now with a 34% tariff, it's like getting knocked to the ground.
He said the only thing he can do for now is wait. His backup plan is to ship through third-party warehouses in other countries. That's the only way forward.
Bro, that's what the real story is here. About Canada, a lot of people are asking, why Canada? We love Canada. Canada are our friends. Why wage this tariff war on Canada? And of course, the answer is simple. Canada and Mexico are the back door to the American economy because we have this trade deal with them, the USMCA. If Canada and Mexico do not match our tariffs on China, China simply builds car manufacturing plants in Canada and in Mexico, which they have already done, and they use that in order to get tariff-free cars into the American market, which is exactly what President Trump is trying to get away from. So what he wants from them is for them to close that back door.
So guys, if you did not hear, YouTube basically 100% tariffed me. They took all my money away and said, no, it's for me, it's not for you because you hurt somebody's feelings. So if you'd like to support our channel and what we do here, bringing to you guys truth and trying to explain what's actually happening in the world, please look at the top of comments. There are 4 different ways that you can sow into this ministry and into this small woman-owned business. Now, the interesting thing is you just heard a Chinese bookseller say, I'm going to bring my books, my imports into another country, a back door, and get it into the United States through a third-party business. Then you heard the lady say, well, this is why Trump is demanding Canada and Mexico get on board and match our tariffs, tariff for tariff with China. That's what's expected. Because if they don't join us, what will happen is they will build manufacturing plants in Canada, in Mexico, and import it straight into America, avoiding the tariffs. Folks, nowhere in the Bible does it tell us to lay down and allow someone to literally steal from us. It's putting America in debt to continue the way we've been. So what are tariffs going to do? They're going to bring manufacturing back. Is it going to take a couple of years? Yes. Yes, it is. But here's how the liberals feel. Get ready.
I think it's safe to say that we'll be on the iPhone 16 for 10 years to come. I don't think people realize what it takes for an entire corporation to move their supply chain to another country, especially the U.S. I don't think people realize how cheap it really is to produce in China.
Do y'all know what bothers me the most? What bothers me the most is the Democrats say it out loud. He just said it out loud. Most people don't understand how cheap it is to produce in China. Why is that? Why is it so much cheaper to produce in China, folks? Because they don't have to pay their employees if they don't want to. It's a communist country. They pay slave labor. They have children doing manufacturing jobs, something we stopped in America 70 years ago. They have inmates in prison doing the labor. They're polluting China. Have you seen the carbon map around China? All you liberals who are down with this, if you are so worried about the cost of an iPhone that you are overlooking the poison that these plants are spewing into these communities in China, rivers are poisoned, land is being taken, people can't breathe in the cities.
I have a lot of Yeti cups, and I buy them anywhere between $25 and $40. Yeti only produce them in China for $1 a piece. China makes their money by volume. So if they produce 1 million cups per release, China is making $1 million per production.
There it is. He's saying the quiet part out loud again, folks. China, not employees make their money, not business owners make their money, not corporations make their money. China. China. As if it's all one. The people, the businesses, the government is all just one entity. There's your problem.
The same applies to Nike paying $10 to $20 for shoes. The same applies to Apple paying $50 to $70 per iPhone produced. What people fail to realize is that the raw materials, the machinery, the production, the robots that China use, we have to replicate that in our factories and our plants if we do bring production to the U.S.
What people fail to realize is that manufacturing is what made your grandparents rich. What people fail to realize is that if those corporations come back to America, then it will be American employees making a good hourly wage that they can then support their family. And if the prices go up, because I'm sure it would still be affordable to American citizens. So what are we paying so much money for with these iPhones already if the people in China aren't actually making any money from the iPhone? If the workers aren't making a living wage in China, who's making the money from the cost of this $1,000 iPhone we already pay?
A Stanley Cup, $50. The factory gets $1. $1. But when they sell millions of them, that's millions of dollars. And all surplus. That's where the surplus comes from. But for every $1 the factory made, somebody in America is making $49. Who is benefit from the globalization?
Again, no mention of employees making a living wage. No mention of a business making a living wage. He's saying factory as if it's an entity and everything inside the factory is just working parts of the factory. Am I the only person in this country that is catching the use of these words as if factory is a proper noun, as if it needs a capital F, as if it is a living thing? There are people in the factory. What do they make? If the factory only makes $1 per Stanley Cup, how much are the employees making, people? And if there's a $49 difference, is it actually somebody in America? Or is it somebody that's an elite that really doesn't have an allegiance to any country, that has become billionaires, trillionaires from the globalization of manufacturing in the world? Do you know how you stop this? You bring it back to America.
No 16-hour shifts or abusive management. Every worker enjoys a luxury 3-bedroom apartment for a mere price of $50 USD per month plus utilities. I am not paid to say this or have a gun pointed at my head. Phew, okay, I tricked the CCP agent into believing that I was going to publish this right after I recorded it. Since he didn't speak English, couldn't read English, I finally got rid of him. Alright, let's actually talk about the worker abuse that happens in China. This is in Guangdong. A man collapsed in a factory and medical staff was giving him first aid. This one, also in a factory in Guangdong. Late at night, a garment worker collapsed to the ground. This one, again in Guangdong. They got a lot of factories. A man fainted on the assembly line and was subsequently sent to the hospital for treatment. And this video here is an electronic factory worker falling onto the ground and started to shake. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, right? The people who are making your stuff that costs 10 times less than you would be able to get in your home country is putting their lives on the line to be able to make those things. Well, I mean, there is no regulation, or there's regulation, but there's no regulation enforcement in China, considering the fact that the CCP themselves, in their own companies, employ extreme work hours and regularly avoid enforcing those regulations. It's like your boss's boss's boss is doing this.
Where we regulate through the EPA how much poison they're allowed to dump in the waterways, unlike China. Where we regulate how much poison they can put into the air, unlike China. Where you hire people at a living wage because we force you to, and you can't use slave labor or children. I want you guys to really think about that. Stop complaining about how much cost things are going to go up and think about the jobs it will bring back to Americans. Tighten your belt. Because if President Trump doesn't do something to reduce our debt and spending, America's going bankrupt. And if you think a tariff war is bad, you guys are going to have your minds blown when the Great Depression comes back.
Thinks the iPhone could be manufactured here in the US. Currently, they're manufactured in China.
At peak times, some 350,000 staff work there, most living in dormitories on site. During the build-up to a big new iPhone release, the plant can produce as many as 500,000 units a day. That's nearly 350 every minute.
Even though they come at a higher than average price tag compared to other phones, they are still somewhat affordable for the average person in the US.
The only person I have ever seen pay cash for an iPhone was my mother, my 81-year-old mother. Everybody else does what? You put it on your phone plan because you what? Cannot afford the cost of that phone. You can't hand over $1,000 cash, $800 cash, $1,200 cash to AT&T to get your iPhone. You cannot. So do not say it's somewhat affordable. It's not affordable at all. People just don't see it that way. You'd rather add the debt to your phone bill and say, oh, I bought a phone, but you didn't. You're renting it until you own it.
However, now with the tariffs imposed on Chinese goods, the amount of the iPhone is going to skyrocket. And if the iPhone will now be manufactured in the US, you could expect to pay thousands for the phone. Thousands of dollars for an iPhone.
You do realize that you don't have to buy an iPhone. Like, you don't have to have it. It isn't like a set of lungs that you breathe with. You literally don't have to buy the product.
If this isn't absurd at this point, I don't know what is.
At the Zhengzhou factory, which is dedicated to the final stage of iPhone assembly, some 400 discrete tasks are broken down and carried out by its army of workers. Most employees will perform one task repeatedly over and over again, day after day. This could be as interesting as soldering or as dull as fitting a single screw into the back of the devices, again and again and again.
Just a reminder, Donald Trump has no idea what he's
These
doing.
are literally the same people that defended Joe Biden as he was losing his mind in the White House. Lady, all I have to say is auto pay.
They are the surplus country that their exports to the U.S. are 5 times our exports to China. So they can raise their tariffs, but so what? No one wins in a war, but it's proportionality, and the proportionality for the Chinese is going to be much worse.
104% tariffs on China are not enough. I'm advocating 400%. I do business in China. They don't play by the rules. They've been in the WTO for decades. They have never abided by any of the rules they agreed to when they came in for decades. They cheat, they steal IP. I can't litigate in their courts. They take product, technology, they steal it, they manufacture it and sell it back here. Never has an administration.
400% tariffs? What would that look like?
I want Xi on an airplane to Washington to level the playing field. It's just not about tariffs anymore. Nobody has taken on China yet, not the Europeans, no administration for decades. As someone who actually does business there, I've had enough. I speak for millions of Americans who have IP that have been stolen by the Chinese. I have nothing against the Chinese people. They brought great literacy, art, and tech to the world. The government cheats and steals, and finally, an administration, you may not like Trump, you may not like his style or his rhetoric, finally, an administration that puts up and says
This
enough.
is based, I want to make clear, on a close reading of the executive order. I have it here. When they amended their executive order yesterday, they changed the rate, the reciprocal rate, so-called, from 84% to 125%. But that comes on top of the fentanyl rate that was already in place this term of 20% against China. So a White House official confirmed to me it is correct to add those numbers together, making the new rate that President Trump has added in tariffs against China so far this term to 145%.
So there it is, 145% tariff being placed on China. I showed you last night how the stock market is rigged. Every time that Trump says he's going to do tariffs, stock market drops. Every time he backs up a little bit, it shoots right back up. The elites are in a battle with the President of the United States. And who are they battling for? You. You are debt to the elites. You've been sold. Yes, with your birth certificate, your social security number, your surety for a debt of another generation. Let's stop it now. I have children. I would really love to have grandchildren. But my kids are having trouble just living in this world. And it's not just my children dealing with it. I listened to the Patriot nurse this morning and she had something interesting to say. I advise you to listen.
This is just what I can visibly see of homelessness. The number of people that I am aware of who are struggling to pay for not only groceries, forget groceries, that's already on credit cards. And now they have apps to give you short-term loans to pay for groceries. The number of people that I'm seeing right now who are on a knife edge of homelessness is very concerning. And this is not something, for instance, like people like to crap talk to millennials and say, oh, you guys eat too much avocado toast or whatever. Listen, y'all, there ain't enough avocado toast and Netflix subscriptions that you can cut from a budget to make up for this chasm of deficit in what it is costing people to put a roof over their heads. There's a lot that's fundamentally broken. And when you come right down to it, I'm not sure that this is something President Trump can fix outside of doing two things, abolishing the Fed or abolishing income tax. When you look at what's happening to the purchasing power of our dollar since 1970, I mean, it's taken a nosedive. Hell, in 2000, since 2000, your dollar has lost half of its purchasing value. So people like to crap talk to millennials, but let's say, for instance, that you are an older millennial and you, for instance, started into the workforce in year 2000. If you were a good and wise person and you worked hard and you hustled and you saved with an average paying job, any money that you've saved in the bank has lost half of its purchasing value since.
So how do we fix this, folks? We fix it through tariffs. We fix it through increasing businesses in America. We do all of this. We decrease taxes, not just for poor people, for rich people too. I will never understand how people can hold a sign up that says tax the rich. Everybody in America is pretty much right now running on about a 28 to 32% tax. Now, what Democrats are asking is that you unfairly tax somebody that worked a little harder or wrote a book and became a millionaire or got rich off YouTube because they worked hard at it. They're asking that those people pay more money and be punished for having more money. So not how it's supposed to work, guys. A level playing field. The best thing is to increase tariffs and remove completely federal income tax. Then we abolish the Fed. And a lot of people don't understand is the Federal Reserve is not part of the federal government. They are the ones that mess with inflation. They are the ones that control your money. And you know who controls them? The elites who control the stock market. Open your eyes and see it for what it is. President Trump is fighting for you. If you don't like that, friend, enjoy being broke and poor and a slave to the system you were born into. Like, comment, subscribe, and please consider donating to our channel. Love you guys.